Good evening. Welcome, everybody. And sorry for the delay. I'm apparently not set up. Look at that. Got this all twisted. I got that all twisted. You'd almost think I didn't set up for this. Let's try this again. Welcome. Joys of a live stream. Can't cut that shit out. Um, welcome. Um, it's been a hot minute. I do apologize for my absence. Um, as I've expressed in my Discord and my I am battling two different things right now internally. One, I'm battling my mental health. The other, I am battling this lovely disease from my diabetes, known as gastroparesis or stomach paralysis. That's all kinds of fun. I've spent more time in the hospital than I have at home, and it's not really a fun thing. I'm not going to get too into it, but mixed with it and some other issues, I've been rather absent from all my projects and all of my social medias, for that matter. Um, However, I am in a much better place now. I am back. I'm a little healthier. I've got myself a better computer for doing better things, more magic and black magic, more coffee, more cats. Don't forget about the cat in the corner. She's always there, every video. She's just a camera whore, kind of like me, I suppose. Um, so, um, dynamic portfolio. Today we're going to be doing a little bit of code review, because quite frankly, I don't fully remember where we left off with the last bit, so I've been kind of reading up a little bit of my own code, and I've added some code in there 2 weeks ago, if I want to say. I had straightened up the pages. I believe if you remember my last video, my last stream about this, we left off with a couple of pages that were there that were missing. They needed some more information, more data. Um, so while I was mentally unable to bring myself to do some videos and live streams, I was able to do some code. Code has always been something that's quite peaceful to me. I had kind of we'll say rough upbringing when I was a child, and so I kind of buried myself in computer. We got our family computer in '97. I went down a rabbit hole of how computers work, this, that, and the other thing. Curious towards what makes things tick, what makes things go, and that led me down later on into another rabbit hole, which was computer programming. That I got into that in 2001, 2002. So I've been at this programming thing for a hot minute. I've made a lot of cool things, done a lot of cool things, broke a lot of cool things, met a lot of cool people, pissed off a lot of cool people, pissed off a lot of angry people. Um, I've done some things, but some of the things that more recent work I've been looking to put up in a sort of showcase way. So that was why I had started this idea of making a sort of dynamic portfolio. Um, why I call it the dynamic portfolio, I have no idea. Um, but the idea is that it will be something that's very simple and flexible to expand upon, to add my own sort of, and if you happen to want, take the code yourself and do your own edits. It's sort of a way to just sort of highlight different projects and tasks that I've done, like sort of like a resume thing. Sure. Um, so I did do a few changes. Let's swap me from big head to little head. Hi, little me. Okay, and let's take a look at some code. There we go. Look at that. So, um, main changes that I did was sitemap. We've added the other pages, which now link up appropriately. Now with Spring Boot, by default, it looks for your pages, your HTML pages, through the resources and templates package by default, which allows me to name a thing index.html, irpg.html, and when we annotate this as a controller, not a REST controller, but a controller, that tells Spring that we're going to be doing some well, basically it's a useful annotation that takes care of some boilerplate code that what we'd otherwise have to configure ourselves. I added this required args constructor because later on I intend to add in a profile page where I want other people to be able to log in and register. I don't know. I had a few different ideas with this. I had a few different ideas with this when I was first sort of brainstorming this. When I first came up with the idea, and I was thinking like, oh, I'm going to showcase this, drip this. I'm going to make a registration system where other people can register and log in, leave comments and posts and sort of stuff and things and whatnot. But so yeah, well, we'll see if that happens. We're still kind of playing with things as we go. So all of these are different pages. So if we look up HTML page, this here, we stick our SVG file here, which I believe is something relatively new. I don't believe I had that before. It's just a simple HTML page that is full of icons that we use throughout the project. I've done this way because of the fact that this is now kind of reusable, object-oriented. Write it once and I can then reuse it everywhere just by simply calling a fragment div. So in all of my classes, I just pass it in here. I just take the sieve dig. Yes, it's a sub calling the sieve. Screw you if I don't care. It's a sieve dig or sveg dig, and I'm just telling it to replace that with the SVG sig that I have inside of the other fragment. This is one of my favorite things about Thymeleaf, is that I can just tell it I want this tag to be replaced, and then I tell it here that where I'm looking to replace it with. So I go into fragments, which is down here, and then into SVG, and then from there I'm looking for the element SVG. So in here we had a fragment, sorry, not element, a fragment, and here's where I'm naming that fragment SVG. So this gives us the ability to use these icons, or like images, if you will, little YouTube icon, LinkedIn, GitHub, like a little gear, cog, things like that. Just the little icons. They're reusable around every page, so instead of cluttering up all of my pages with all that reusable code, I'm just one line. I love Thymeleaf. So I'm doing that for the SVGs, so that we have access to some icons. Then I'm doing the same thing for the header, which is just simply allowing us to see the links, OSBY, Runiverse, IRPG, Penguins, Miscellaneous, which doesn't actually go anywhere. So in here, you'll notice that these are an unordered list, and these are all list elements, or list. I don't really know what the LI stands for. I always just assumed it was list. So in here, I'm making these as a navigation item. And for example, well, this one here, for example, is I'm doing a security check, and I'm checking to see if the authorized user has the role of owner. And this is basically, if this is true, then I'm adding in a database option on the header, which just gives me a quick option to get to the database. If you've ever seen PHP My Admin, it's a very simple-ish sort of styled same thing that H2 database has, which is what we're using for our development state here. Which H2 databases, if you're not really familiar, they can be in memory, they can be embedded, they can be whatever, but they're pretty much ideal for development purposes. And with Spring data, or with Spring in general, it allows a very quick and easy way for you to just change a configuration, literally a line of code, and it rewires all your database from H2 to Postgres or SQL or whatever the hell you want to use. So here, I'm then telling it that I'm making a nav link. The href is just a hashtag, and I'm telling it that I'm using the Thymeleaf's href, which is the root address that we're in. So if it's wherever we're at, localhost, domain.tld, whatever the website is, we're going to that /acp or /osby and yeah, that's just what the links are. And down at the bottom here, we're doing, again, this is why I love Thymeleaf. So Thymeleaf allows us, and if you're a front-end developer, I have no sweet clue how to do this stuff in Angular and all that. I'm not a front-end developer. I am back-end. I have friends that are front-end that were probably going to laugh at me if they hear me say that because of my experience and my background, and they're like, "Oh, you don't know the front end?" I'm like, I don't like the front end. However, so this is why I like Thymeleaf. I can do if-else statements basically. So here's where I'm doing setting up another div. It's going to be a dflex, and it's a flex row of reverse. The top one up here is a hazy. The first one is just a regular row. This one is a reverse row because we're setting up the navigation bar. Instead of going from right to left, we want it to go from right. Instead of going from left to right, we're going to go from right to left. So that's where we're sticking the login, logout on the top right corner. So here we're checking Thymeleaf if the authorization expression is authenticated. So if the user is logged in, then we want to stick them with a log out button. Otherwise, that div is not going to work for. And down here, we're saying unless the person is authorized, we're going to stick them with a register or a login button. And now I will get this up and running, and actually apparently I still have it up and running. So I'm going to kill it, and we will run that, take a look at it, and see what that all looks like. So that's the header. The SVG is just, again, the pictures. So the home page literally is sticking the images in there, a header. I have this sidebar. So this was something that we're going to find out together because I didn't really look at that. So we are going into fragment sidebar underscore sidebar and sidebar. So in here, it looks like we are creating ourselves a dark background, little bit of padding, nav item. Okay, looks like I got a GitHub link, a YouTube link, and a LinkedIn link. Okay, so that should be apparently coming down the side of the page. Let's and then from there, I just simply have my Glabe Studios image. And that looks to be about it, actually. Like, seriously, that's it? That's all? Okay, there we go. Okay, there's more. Okay, I was going to say, what the hell? So in here we are sticking in a, because this is a display flex, this is going to put left and right. So we are simply splitting the content. This first div is a video on the side, whereas this second div is a chunk of text written on the right-hand side. That's pretty much the flow for every page. So that would be the index page. IRPG would be a very similar thing. Placing the header. Apparently we don't have the sidebar, but I have an image of my logo on the top, name of the game, picture, and text. And again, that's going to be the same for all of these. A couple of them have 2 pictures. My registration page, I think we've already went over this. I am passing in a new user quote. New user is coming from here, which is just simply a credential user, which is just basically a Java object. And for those of you who are more familiar with seeing these things in the reference of a JSON, map this to a JSON, and it's just basically open bracket, close bracket, username, whatever, email, whatever. Spring will map this to it for us. So I'm taking in that object so that we have their username, email, password, and a repassword, so that when they are in the register page, we are then having a small form. This form is going to have an action, and the object with said action is going to be that object that we passed in, and said action is going to be a post action. So this is going to take this object, fill it up with all this data, and then when somebody hits the submit button or the register button, it's going to then take that new user data, which is then going to be a filled out piece of information, and it is going to then post it to the action endpoint, which in our case is API v1 registration new user, which we can see inside of our registration controller. There it is. This is API v1 registration and then new user. You can see that our model attribute that we're taking is of new user, and that is the credential. And right here is where we're checking if it's null. Then we're going to redirect them back to the registration and tell them that the parameter is no creds were passed. If the registered user already exists, we're going to redirect them back to the registration, and we're going to stick the we're going to have the parameter of user exists. And if the passwords don't match, same idea, we're going to send them back to the register. We're going to redirect them back to the register page with the parameter of mismatched passwords. Other than that, we're creating a oh my god, a date time formatter that really should not be a tongue twister. We're creating one with a pattern of year, date, month, hour, minute, second. And from here, we're creating a user profile object, this is the actual database table. And this is why I love Spring Boot, Spring Java, just Spring. Cheers to Spring. So this is our Pojo, or plain old Java object. And here we can be a lot more specific about these and tell these a lot more things if we wanted to. Like, I could come in here and tell this that this is going to be a table, and that I want it to be a table name of user profile. And now now by default, okay, let's talk about that first. By default, Spring data is actually going to map this. It's going to take the camel case, split it where the camel case is, and then uppercase the text for you by default. So in other words, it's going to do this. And it's going to take this plain old Java object, and it's going to stick that into the database table, or like a SQL database. That's going to be the name of the table, user profile, and then all of these variables inside of the Java class are going to be the table data, or the variables within the table. Your string being your varchar, your integer being well, your integer. So what we're doing here is we're telling this that this first parameter is our unique identifier, how we're going to uniquely identify it, and we're telling it that it's going to be a generated value with the strategy of sequence. Sorry guys, cat just jumped off the chair and went after my dog. Cats are crazy. Alright, so it's going to create a generated value based off a sequence, and by default values, the sequence is going to be iterated by an index of 50. Not gonna lie to you, I can't remember off the top of my head why. Don't even try asking. But by default, it's 50. You can change this and configure this and switch things up by doing yet another annotation. Spring Boot is very well known for their annotation processing, and it's very annotation driven. If I seem a little bit kind of bumped and everywhere, guys, I'm not gonna lie to you. I almost canceled this live stream tonight because of my anxieties and my mental health state. Z, who's in the comments there, he's actually a junior dev of mine, or a younger a dev that I mentor. I was actually talking to him just before the show, and I pretty much was like, I'm gonna cancel this. Like, I can't do it. I can't do this. Like, I'm not ready. So I'm not gonna lie to you. If I seem a little bit everywhere, my anxiety is through the roof, and I'm trying to keep a cool head, and I'm a little bit high. I did have some weed to try to calm myself down because that's, again, my anxieties are high. So coffee and herb were there to help me. That being said, back to this. So here's where we're going to store our ID of the user. We're going to take the email address, the username, and the encrypted password. You'll notice the other one we had was a password and a repassword. That was just so that we can make sure those two passwords matched, and if they did, we were good. Then we would encrypt it when we get it, which you'll see when I go back to the registration controller, because here is when we set the username based off the user credential, email, and here's where we're using bcrypt password encoder, which comes from our, this comes from our Spring Security crypto package. It's very important when, just to throw this out there, when bcrypt does their encoding, they do it with a certain algorithm. That algorithm is not the same as another bcrypt library. So if you were using Spring, the Spring Framework Security Crypto bcrypt, and then decided to use some other random ass bcrypt that you downloaded off the internet, they may not match up when you try to pair them and check them. So if you have a back-end system that's registering all your users and whatnot, and maybe like creating them a profile so they can play on a game that you have, if that game server is accepting logins, but it's checking their passwords with a different bcrypt encoder, when it tries to encode this password to match it with this password, they're not encoded the right way or the same way, so the odds of them matching up are non-existent. So make sure that if you're going to settle on an encryptor or an encoder, make sure that you use it across the board. Stick to the same one. Stick in family. All right, so back to this. Here we are then telling it the created time is going to be that equal to right now. And for all intents and purpose, it was last updated on the creation date. I'm doing it this way instead of that way because if for some weird reason the host system that this is on, if it was to be delayed, even though we're only going by seconds, if we were to track nanoseconds or milliseconds and nanoseconds, then that could make a little bit of a difference on when it was last updated, which technically wouldn't be that bad overall. But either way, because this is also just when it's created. Oh yes, we'll touch back on this. So when I'm redirecting these users back to register, and I'm passing in the parameter of no creds, user exist, or past mismatch, of course you're not going to jump into that. Register. So at the top of this page, we have a parameter check. So this is why I like Thymeleaf. If the parameter dot no creds, so like if this exists, then we're going to throw a little message at the top of the registration screen page. So that's where it'll say that hey, there was no credentials provided, or the user already exists. Please use a new name, or we can just say, hey, your passwords don't match, based on which parameter that we pass in. So again, that's Thymeleaf's if statement, if the parameter dot whatever the parameter is that we pass in. So this has to match this. Cool. Yeah, so then we just save it and we return the player or the user back to the index, which you'll see this get mapping, and then I have curly braces because all of these extensions are going to do the same thing. So whether somebody goes to localhost or localhost/home or localhost/index, it's all going to wind them up back on the index page. So that's how we also have these other endpoints as well. And up here in our security configuration, this is a configuration file. We enable web security, and I don't have that in there right now. I probably should. No, I probably should. I guess I don't need it. But anyway, so here we have the security chain filter, or the security filter chain, however you want to word that. 6 in one hand, half a dozen in the other. I'm telling it that all of these endpoints should be allowed. Everybody should be allowed to go to those. Doesn't matter if you're logged in or not. However, I'm also saying for my APIs, and this doesn't matter how you structure this here. I just have these any request matchers set up in this way so that I could comment on what is a web page, what is my API endpoint, what is a resource, just simply so that I could better organize it from my point of view as a developer. If I come back to it later, helps me structurize things as well as helps anyone that's working on my team. But it just gives us quick idea of being able to see, okay, so the APIs is the only API we have is the registration, and we're permitting everybody to make requests there without being authorized, which is what we want, so to speak. Again, resources, same idea. Administration, we're keeping the admin control panel restricted to anyone that has the developer or the owner role, which sorry, which back here on the header, you'll see that I have an authorized here that if the person has the role of owner, role_owner, then they can see this database tag, which takes you to ACP, which is the admin control panel. And back here, you'll see that if they try to access the admin control panel, then the logged in user has to either be developer or owner. So now, just in case anybody has any questions, even though this only states if the user has the role of owner, do they get to see the ACP? If they have the role of developer, they can access it. They just won't see the link up here. They would have to physically type in the /ACP on their browser to get to it. It's just they wouldn't see the. Now I could slip in has role any. I want to say it is has role any. Has any role. There it is. And I realize you can't see my pop-up, but I could tell this has any role, and we do this, comma, single quote. That's also important. When you're doing this in here, you don't want the double quote. You want a single quote. But again, we'll check to see if they have role _ developer. So if the person is a developer or an owner, they'll see the database link. So, all right, let's close all this crazy nonsense, and let's open up a browser that you apparently cannot see. Just give me a moment here, guys. I gotta make it so that we can see. Browser. Sweet, there we go. Okay. So, that is now the browser. So, now you guys can't see this, so I'm going to turn this website on. You'll see it starting to run there in the background. I really was not set up for this. There we go. Okay. Alright, so now whoops. As you can see, it's up and running. So if we come back to here, and we go to localhost, and if you spell that right, there we go. Apparently my sidebar did not turn out as expected. Live streams, can't really. Yeah, so that's something that should technically go the length of the window height and should be a sticky there. So we'll have to fix that. But you'll see I got my big beefy banner there. We can most likely yeah, we can most likely shrink that up a little bit because it does look pretty large. But you'll see here where I've got the video on the left and the text on the right. We can go to OSBY, and you'll notice here, Old School Boneyard, image on the left, text on the right. Doesn't really do much. The Runiverse, this was a project that I did. We got videos on the left about what it is and sort of how to use it. On the right, we have some descriptions again running through just mainly about what it is. And this, again, is sort of the whole idea of this is basically having a website or web app or whatever you want to call it, where I could eventually someday, because this is a Spring Boot application, it just spin up a jar file and throw that jar file into a onto a VPS, buy a domain, make an A record, point it, and bada boom, I have a website. It is that easy. If you're using Spring Boot to build a web app, then you have to get this up and going. All I would need to do is jar this or compile it into a Java archive, artifact, whatever you wish to call it, and take that jar file, throw it on a VPS somewhere, buy some sort of Linux machine, FTP to it, throw the jar file on, tap away on PuTTY, fire it up, and buy a domain, make an A record on that domain host, tell it that to make an A record in there, and tell it to go to the VPS IP. And after propagation, you put in that domain, you go to that VPS, you load up your Spring Boot application. That way you can, if you're following along with this and you're looking to build up your own sort of little website or whatever for your friends even, or your own portfolio or your own whatever you come up with, you can simply follow those couple of steps, then you can give your friends your domain dot whatever, and have someone check out your project. IRPG again is just another page, another project. It was, see, now that's a good size. I might have to shrink this one to be the same size as that one. Why is my header? Why does my header change? Oh, that must be a CSS thing. Okay. But yeah, yay. This is just a, again, apparently I need to log in to go see that. It's because that doesn't exist, so that's trying to send me off to error, which is also good to know. I don't have error.html. So if we go to register, you'll see here's where people register. I still need to switch that out, apparently. That's a wrong image. But here's where you'll just provide email, password. I don't even know what password that is. I probably shouldn't use that. Do that. Hit register. Look at that, I must have registered myself. So now if I do this and look at that. Error. Ah. Cool. But I'm not errored out. You'll see that? I'm logged in. We'll have to check the console for that. But you'll see here, because I am listed as an owner, and I'll show you how I listed myself as that, I see this database option, which takes me to the admin CP, which, if I remembered all the login informations, which I really don't. This is dev, this is that, this is warehouse, this is that, this is super secret. Ooh, wrong. Oh, that's because this is not that, this is dev, admin, and super secret. Oh, need a flippity flab. I don't even know what that was. Alright, so we're dropping this in here. admin, and there we go. Look at that. I got in this time. Whatever that issue was. Alright, so, and this is what I meant by if you've ever seen PHP My Admin, this was very similar. Well, no, it's not very similar. But you can see here the user table, the ID created on email, encrypted password, last updated, username. And this is what I meant by it takes the Spring Data will take the plain old Java object and it will take each each variable name. Oh my god! Each variable, and it will take wherever you camel case it. It will split it, add an underscore, and uppercase the whole thing. And that's how it makes the tables. So you can see that we have a user profile table with the different rows inside of said table. Now we can select all here, because you'll notice that if we just happen to click on it, this is a SQL terminal. Basically, you can throw in SQL commands, and it'll execute them against your database. So in our case, I want to select all from user profile. Hit the run, and look at that. I'm the only profile in here right now. So you'll see that it was created on here at 20 to 2 in the morning, or 20 to 1 in the morning. Email is apparently lab A. I thought I passed my actual email. Cool, we found a bug, guys. Look at that. This is why I love live streams. So, this would be registration controller, username, credentials, get username. Cool. So now where are we setting that at? Here. Username, email, okay. Okay, so let's take a look at the registration control. No? You know what? I'm gonna have to look back on the live stream and see if I wound up just entering in my name and not my password, because I don't even remember. I guess here's a fun way to do it. Edit. Delete. Yes. Come back up to... Go back into localhost. Dun, dun, dun. Log out. I've been signed out. If I try this again... Bad credentials. Okay. So, now we're going to go to register, if I can spell that right. So, username, email. I think that's what I did wrong. Okay. There we go. So now if I come back over here, rerun this, it's going to ask me to sign in. Okay, there we go. So yeah, okay, I did just put my name in wrong. Good fight. If you ever put your name in wrong in something, hit that like button. Alright, so now that we've discovered what I've done wrong, I do gotta fix that. I want to resize this a bit, so let's jump into, I think it was index. Yep. Okay, so that's the image for that one. IRPG has it at 50/50. So we're going to come back in here and we're going to slap that at 50/50, rerun this, and I realize that I have this over top and you guys did not. Oh, you can if I minimize that. Okay, cool. Okay, so let's refresh this. No. Why is that different? Hmm. It's a little bit better, I think. Kinda. Right. So, trying to remember the other things we were going to do. Um, so yeah, that was the pretty much everything that was made different about this. Um, as for what we can add to it, well, we've got a way that we have registered users. Hmm. We do need to add an error page, which um, just give me a moment here, and we're actually just going to copy an error page um, from another project that I have, which is sort of my go-to error page, if you will. So we are going to add it into templates. And now this this error page happens to come along with a funny little thing that I wrote up one day. Let's clean this up a little bit. Copy that, go into here, do this. This is error. Cool. Add the header. Alright, so this here just puts oops across the top of the page. If there happens to be an error, it'll put the error code. Otherwise, it's just going to say 200, which instead we're just going to leave it at that. Whatever, 200. And if there is error text, that's when we're going to say error text. Otherwise, it seems like your page you're looking for either went for a wander or never really existed to begin with. And now that we can see in the registration controller. Nope. Not sending anybody to the error page there. Site. We're not actually sending anybody to an error page. Cool. Cool, 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 cool. We will get to that. Otherwise, it's gonna then beneath that it puts up this little poem that I scratched together one day when I had a little buzz on the go. Um, a little snippet who tried. Um, so let's go back to our website here, and we want to be able to permit people to go to the error page. So we're going to duplicate that line, and we're going to add error. Spell it right, and it works best. So that's set up. So now if we rerun this, there we go. Come back up here. And now miscellaneous will throw an error. So, and there we go. Now, because there is no error code provided and there was no error text provided, the error code text part that we just looked at here did not come up because, again, the 200 should have showed up. Okay, that's interesting. Okay. So interesting there enough. Interestingly enough, yeah, that should be saying 200 regardless, or this. They're both blank. Haha. Okay. 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 So mm, you know what? I am just going to get rid of that. Get rid of that. Leave this. Restart this. And now I want to refresh this. There we go. So when the system throws an error, by default, apparently, error code and error text were being blank. But they were being initialized to blank. So, okay. To get said desired effect, um, how the hell did I do that in the header? If, oh yes, that's right. Okay, and if dollar sign brackets, okay. here. And if this error code. Oh, how do I do a null check? I don't remember how to do a null check. There's a list local. Oh, strings dot b is empty. There we go. String is empty. Error code. Okay. Okay. So, sorry we're going quiet there. All right. So to do this appropriately, we're doing a quick little head 3 if check. So if the string is empty, we're going to display. I got this backwards. Okay. So we're going to shift those around. Ah. Wait a minute. No, I did have that right. Anyway, so if this, yeah, no, I have it right. So if the string happens to be empty, then we're just going to put 200. No, we're going to say 500. We're going to say some sort of internal system error. Otherwise, actually, no, technically, if it's in 404. Otherwise, unless it's empty, we want to share the code that we got here, which means I also have this backwards. So if the I can't switch that one as easily. Cool. So if the text is empty, we're going to put our own text. And unless it's empty, switch it up. That's default first, other later. Cool. So if we rerun this, bam. So because we're not passing anything and the strings are empty, you'll see we have a 404. It seems like the page you're looking for either went for a wander or never really existed at all. Cool. That works as expected. So, next, you'll notice that I do have this project on Git. You'll notice how it's all green. However, I do not have this on GitHub. So just bear with me, and if you're curious about how to get your project onto GitHub, because I think I'm going to wrap this up for tonight, this live stream, guys. However, I do want to get this up on to a GitHub repo so that you guys can finally take advantage of getting it. So we're gonna go through it quick, make sure that everything we have actually is set up the way we want it. Looks like everything is there. We got all of our files, our CSS, our images, our footers, even though our footer images, we never actually made a footer. Maybe we should have done that. However, everything looks fine. README, cool. I think that's just my. Should probably change that. I think that was just my homepage actually. Sure, I got everything there. What do we got going on here? Let us upgrade our spring version. So I went ahead and upgraded our spring version because why not stick with the latest versions? Just coming down to double check. Lombok, runtime good. Cool. Alright, so if you're curious about how to, for those of you that don't know how to do so on through IntelliJ, because a lot of you are probably thinking, okay, he's just going to crack open the old terminal and write some terminal code to commit this to GitHub. See, there is some easy tools that I apparently can't show you because they don't show up. Son of a. Alright, so by my next live stream, I will fix up how I'm streaming my screen so that you'll actually be able to see these. But I can come over to here, for example, and let's double check Git and or make sure everything is good. Looks good. Okay. So I can take everything here as I will, and we're just going to simply say that this is the initial commit. So init commit. I'm going to come in here. I am going to turn off the analyze code and the check to-do list for now, just because we're not actually checking that right now. So up here, you generally want to give yourself your tags. So I am Glabe, and my GitHub is something different. Alright, so from here, we're just going to go ahead and commit these files, and that commits it to our local repository. Okay. So I've got that version locally. Now, I can, up here at the top of the screen, there's a Git tab. If you come here You can there is an option to push. You can also use Control Shift and the letter K. That's going to bring up a push window, which you can't see, and that will allow you to push to GitHub. And I'm actually sorry. The thing we're looking for is a GitHub near the bottom and share project on GitHub. This will bring up a window, and it'll ask you for a repository name, and it'll ask you if you want to make the package private or public. For this one here, I'm going to go ahead and make this a public repository so that you can all have a look at it, go through it, and do your thing. I'm going to go ahead and share that baby. You'll see down here in the corner, things are cooking. There we go. Successfully pushed to GitHub. And it provides me a link where I can click on this and go verify that it went through, which it did. So I will be including the link to this in the description. Once I get this, once the live stream is done, I will update the I'll update the description to provide the GitHub link for this repo. All right, so let's so that being said, sorry, I'm really sorry for how this video went. It wasn't exactly my not exactly my finest video. Not exactly my worst video. However, I do thank you for joining me. I'm really sorry for my my absence. This was due to mainly my mental health as well as my physical health. My wolf is over here breathing nice and heavy. Look at that. Right there. Right there. Cat. Cat in the doorway. Cat up here. Wolf behind me. I'm full of animals, guys. What can I say? Animals and coffee. So yeah, no, my mental health state has not been the best lately. And due to that, I haven't been putting out videos. I haven't been taking care of myself. I haven't been doing this, that, and the other things that I should be. I'm not going to go too into depth about that, but I really wanted to get another video out. I wasn't really originally going to be doing this live stream. Yeah, look at this. Cat's just stretching. That's how I feel right now. Okay. So I almost didn't do this live stream tonight because I didn't feel like I could. I had a rather hard time. I was talking over with Z, my other developer, and I was letting him know that I have a lot of mental health issues, and anxiety, feeling not worth it is one of my biggest mental health issues, and that dates back a couple of decades to my childhood and never being good enough for anything for my family, my parents, I can't really say my friends. Let's face it, I didn't really have any. My friends for my keyboard and mouse. But yeah, I've got very little self-confidence in myself. I've got very little, got horrible self-esteem. My anxiety almost kept me from doing this live stream because I kept feeling like I've gone too long without a video. I felt like no one's gonna be around. I'm still not worth it. This, that, and the other thing. And it was actually my friend Z that talked me into actually getting the courage, liquid courage. No, not alcohol. Coffee. Never alcohol. Always coffee. Um, I went through kind of a rough period where I wasn't exactly on my meds. So my mental health was spiraling. I wasn't taking my meds. My diabetes was out of control, like out of control. Um, I'm talking like an A1C in the high double digits. Those of you that know diabetes, um, it was bad. I was in and out of the hospital, throwing up, going into what's known as DKA, diabetic ketoacidosis. That's very scary. I have anxieties about bringing my sugars down low. I have a lot of issues with my diabetes specifically, and I've been fighting some demons, going back and forth, back and forth, back and forth in my head. I've been fighting myself. I've been fighting my demons. I've been fighting my diabetes. I've been fighting the urge to give up. I've been fighting the urge to write code. I've been fighting the urge to make videos, but yet I feel like I can't, and I keep feeling like I'm being held back by myself, and like I, I, I need to see somebody. Let's face it. Um, this kind of went a little off topic of where I was going with this. So if you've sat with me throughout this ramble at the end of my video, sorry and thank you. Give me a thumbs up, give me a like, give me a whatever. Let me know that. Let me know you like this if you liked it. Let me know that you hated it if you hated it. Because let's face it, I am just making videos. Let me know. Let me know. You like my cat in the background? You know, give me a like, give me a thumbs up. Want to see more cat, more coffee, more me, more dog, more wolf, more code, more coffee? Hit the sub button. Turn on notifications. You'll get notified when I start to do videos and more live streams. I am gonna try to focus more on my YouTube. I am going to be trying to get back into this. Again, I've been battling quite a bit. I might let me know in the comments, guys, if you'd like to see something. I do some code in a scene that's not exactly ethical. It's a private server. It's a private server scene. It's more or less a bunch of guys that reverse engineered some projects and built some game servers, and people connect to them and play. But I'm looking at making a SaaS, a software or a service as a service. Myself and two other developers at the moment. Both are developers that I've mentored in the past. Looking to collaborate and make a platform, basing straight out of Discord. So there's going to be some Discord bots, there's going to be some databases, there's going to be some networks, and this, some that, some MVCs, some microservices. Like, they're looking to to learn from me and then kind of learn some of this stuff. So if you guys are actually interested in that, and like really let me know, because if you guys are interested in this, I'll do it sooner rather than later. Um, I I started this project just pen and paper, jotting down some ideas. Just jotting down ideas and little demos of different things, which led to um, me then asking one of my other developers, or my main developer, Z, to join me in this task, and he said to me, "Well, I don't know if I can do that, Clav. Like, what do you expect me to do?" And I expect him to learn. I just want to help get his exposure up there. And honestly, if you guys, the community, want to see it, let me know in some comments. If so, I'll see if he's cool with jumping on the video with me, two of us, and we'll go through all the steps. Right now, I have a Trello board going. I don't do things traditionally the same way as everybody else. I'm a very old school developer, guys. Like, I've been at this for 20 years, or what is it now, 2024? I've been at this for 22 years, 23 years. Yeah, 23 years. Yeah. I've been at this for a while. So I'm very old school in my ways. I'm very anti-Jadog new tricks. I love new tricks. I love new toys and tech and all that sort of fun stuff. But I um, I have been. I don't even know where I was going with that. Wow. I'm sorry, guys. My anxiety's up to the roof. Yeah. Let me know in the comments. Let me know in DMs, whatever, however you want to reach me. If you want to see it, I will. I'll see if he wants to live stream it with me. If he does, then we'll jump on a live stream. We'll do it on video here. However, on YouTube, I can't guarantee. No, I guess I can turn on my. Yeah, okay, no. Okay, yeah, we'll do it that way. We're gonna jump in, and you guys can actually get involved with this live stream too as well. Maybe we will plan this. Yeah. So I'm gonna talk to Z. If you're watching this, Tom, Z. Oops, sorry. If you're watching this, Z, expect a DM. So I want to make this project a little more interactable. So I'm going to get Z and I on a Discord call, and we're going to be in the live stream. And we're going to do this in my Discord. We'll jump on a voice call, a group voice chat. I'll stream here live on YouTube. We'll be chatting in Discord. You guys want to get in on the conversation and the party, by all means. Yeah, cool. We'll do that. Yeah, if you're interested in the project, it's going to be a thing that I'm going to be doing. Let me know. Send me a DM. Send me a message. Send me a comment. I will let you know in the coming soons when we're going to do this. So we're going to get together. What it is a platform. Hi, Cat. It's sort of a platform for freelancers. Very similar very similar to things like Fiverr and Freelancer. But it's sort of organized within this. Okay. She may. Whoop, watch her. She may or may not fall. She's done this like 30 times. Oh, let me go this way. Let me go this way. So, she. Sorry to cut this short. You'd swear I have ADD. She's gonna fall. It's gonna be funny. I could be there. I could be a good owner and go wake her up and let her like. All right. So if she falls, hit that sub button. All right, guys. So it's sort of like a freelancer thing. It's going to be through Discord. It's going to be. I don't expect it to be anything. I'm not going to lie to you. It's just something that I had a fun little idea with, and I was like, why not? It's a project I can sharpen my skills on. If you guys want to partake in that, join, watch, partake in the Discord, get involved, like, let me know. It'd be kind of cool to make it into a little, into sort of like a, I guess, open project. I'm getting way off topic of this. So, I think this is actually going to wrap things up for the dynamic portfolio video. Because outside of adding in some JavaScript to like make some fancy effects on the site, like, but because this was and for all intents and purposes is my portfolio. I'm not a front-end developer. I'm not looking to showcase fancy graphics and great quality front end because I'm not a front end developer. However, now that this project is open source, added to GitHub, you guys can take advantage of it. Grab it from the description. I'm gonna put it there after the stream. And if you know what, if you happen to actually take my source code and use it for some sort of project on yours, let me know. I'm really curious to what you come up with. I love to see other developers thrive. That's kind of why I started this YouTube channel. That's kind of why I started mentoring people like 5-6 years ago. Was because I like to see other people thrive. And I like to see other people be like genuinely creative. I love creative people. I'd like to think I'm creative. But I love to see what other people come up with. So now that I've got this project up on GitHub, I would love it if somebody from the scene would take it, build their own, and be like, "Hey, Glabe, take a look at this. I used your shit and made this thing better." I think that'd be kind of cool, kind of impressive. That being said, I have a couple of other projects on my GitHub if you want to kind of go through and look at my list. I got Spring into Java, which is also a YouTube series I have. It's a short series, maybe not short series. It's a series where I went through and built a library app, I think. I built a library app, and it was all done in Spring Boot. The idea was to show you how easy it was to be able to use Spring Data, Spring Web to make a web page very much like this and build a database, basically. Put stuff into it, call it, take it out, put it out, and to do it through Discord. I showed you how to, in that series, I also showed people how to create a Discord bot, how to register it, how to do this, that, and the other, how to set up the code for it, how to invite it to your server, how to write slash commands, how to handle inputs, buttons, forms, selections. It's a great series. If you haven't checked it out yet, I highly recommend the Spring into Java course. It was really fun. If you're into doing Discord bots, then I also recommend it. I also would highly recommend my shitlist bot, which is basically um, my friends and I were my friends, my wife and I were with our friend, and that's right, my wife's my friend. Um, I we were sort of joking around, and every time somebody did something stupid, or like whatever, we were like, okay, you're on my shit list, and you know, you're going higher up on that shit list. You're getting more points the more stupid shit you do, and so we eventually kept joking like, oh, well, we started talking like Harry Potter. Oh, 10 points to Glebe for something stupid. And I was like, you know what? I'm gonna make a Discord bot where you can just do that and just give people points for doing stupid shit. We'll call it the shit list. And it was born. It was a fun project. I did stream it. It was either streamed or recorded videos. Um, yeah. If you haven't checked it out, check it out. Again, it was a lot of fun doing it. I have another series that I'm working on. If you're not very familiar with Java or you want to get to know the basics a little more, I have a series called the Java Basics, and in it we're building an application that models and represents a tech company, or specifically my tech company. Yes, I own a tech company. When I came out of high school, I opened up a tech company called Collab Tech. You can Google it. Fairly common. Uh, it it's basically about tech repair, phone repair, for fixing up things like phones, tablets, computers, upgrades, this, that, and the other thing. Basic computer. It's basically just a computer shop. I also do host calls. I do on-site tech. I do all this, that, and the other thing. Maintain servers, databases, all sorts of things, like a physical server, not like a VPS. I'm talking like big racks, like go in, make sure databases are up to date in those, make sure things are running, make sure things are at the anyway. So I'm using that to model a way so that we can keep track of services, prices, customers, devices, laptops, contracts, all sorts of things, and we're going to be persisting these to the database, and we're going to be doing this all low key with just Java and Spring. It's going to be dead simple, no SQL, no database knowledge. Literally, you're never going to see a database, but we're going to be working with the database. Mind blown. Cool. So if you're in, if you haven't checked that video series out yet, I have 2 videos up right now for it. I believe that was the last thing I did before my mental state kind of went woohoo, and I went to the funny farm. She still hasn't fallen yet. Like, I've been expecting her to fall, but like she's just whatever. Cats. What can I say? So I realized I said I was going to wrap this up like half an hour ago, and I've been sitting here rambling. So if you've been with me this far, I'll, I tilt my hat to you. Um, um, if there's anything else that you guys want to see about this series, by all means, send me a message. Let me know. I'm not exactly sure what else I can add. Oh, she woke up. She woke up. She's not going to fall. Oh well. Um, so if you like the video, by all means, hit that like. If you happen to want to check out my other videos, a couple of them are floating around somewhere. And I will make sure to link the first video in this series. If you haven't checked it out, check it out. If you also kind of missed the second video in this series, you can check that one out as well. I will throw like that in there. I'm gonna drop the GitHub link into the description, and we will chat in the next video. My next live stream, I'm not really sure when it's going to be. It might be next weekend. I'm gonna try to let me know if you guys want to see a weekly live stream. I'll just start doing this every week. I also want to pitch the idea of a sort of Java talk. More or less, I want to sit down with start it out with my developer Z. I want to sit down and just talk code, talk software, talk design, talk patterns, talk basics. While we sit around and drink coffee and just talk. If you're interested in that, let me know. If you because it'll be sort of a senior to junior developer coffee podcast chit chat kind of deal. And I think it would be kind of cool and kind of fun to get more people involved and make it into sort of a thing. Um, if you think so, let me know. Um, yeah, that being said, I will talk to you all in the next video. Keep your coffee cup full, your skills sharp, and your cats awake. Alright, guys. Again, I'm really sorry for the anxieties and yeah.